The Only Good Indians is like if the vengeful spirits of nature had a baby with social commentary. If you've been here for a while, you probably know about our love for Stephen Graham Jones. And if you haven't checked out any of his books yet, well, friend, you are missing out. This man knows how to write, and The Only Good Indians might be his best work yet. So let's get into it. We begin the novel with a bang, literally. 10 years before the events of the novel, four young Native American men from the same reservation, Lewis, Ricky, Cass, and Gabe, decide to go on an elk hunt. Now, the place where they are re-hunting is a part of the reservation that has been declared off limits because there are less than 100 elk left in the entire area. These elk are big, majestic animals that are sacred to their tribe and represent freedom, strength, and connection to nature. When the guys find a herd, they sneak closer and closer. Eventually, they corner a female elk that's also pregnant and kill her. They hack at her and stab her until she bleeds out. Then they leave her there on the ground. They have broken a law of their tribe and an unspoken law of nature itself. And they will pay for it. Part 1. Lewis now, 10 years later. Lewis is in his early 30s and has moved away from the reservation, living instead in a city hours away. He's trying to live what some would call the American dream, working a good job and living with his white wife. Basically, he's trying to blend in and forget about his past. Except that past refuses to stay buried. Lewis begins having visions of an elk-headed woman that he can't explain. He hears strange sounds in the night and feels as though he's being watched. And then his coworker goes missing. At first, he thinks that maybe his coworker got mixed up with some bad people or ran off with his wife. But when he goes missing for more than a week without so much as a phone call home, Lewis goes looking for him. He finds him dead, hanging in a metal sculpture of an elk, drained of blood and with the eyes gouged out of his head. Horrified and terrified, Lewis tries to convince himself that there's a rational explanation for what he saw. But even his police captain seems to think that maybe Lewis is going crazy. Lewis doesn't know it yet, but the elk has come back for revenge, and she's taken a liking to him. As the book progresses, things only get worse for Lewis. He calls his wife, but when she doesn't answer, he assumes that she's having an affair. Overcome with rage and grief, he murders her, thinking that it's better for her to be dead than to live a life without him. But the Elk Head Woman appears to him again, and he kills her too. He thought killing his wife was an act of love, but in reality, he was simply taking another life, feeding the curse that now surrounds him. And as soon as he does this, the elk claims him. He finds himself trapped inside the metal sculpture of an elk, unable to escape, and eventually bleeding to death. As the elk-headed woman approaches, licking her chops, we see that Lewis's fate is no different from the elk that he killed 10 years earlier. Part 2, Cass and Gabe. The story now shifts to Cass and Gabe, who still live on the reservation. It's almost Thanksgiving, and the two brothers are helping the community prepare for the annual giveaway. Cass hasn't left the reservation in over 20 years and maintains his traditions and culture. Gabe, however, is a bit of a black sheep of the family. He has a teenage daughter named Denora, who is one of the best basketball players in the state and dreams of playing in the WNBA. Cass is happily married and has a close relationship with his grandson. Gabe's relationship with Denora is strained. Gabe has a hard time accepting that Denora is all grown up and wants more independence from him. This causes a rift between them. Gabe feels guilty for the way he treated his daughter and wonders if maybe he should let her go. Little does he know that they won't have much more time together. The Elk Head Woman is now fully formed and is ready to collect her final 2 prizes. First, the Elk Head Woman visits Cass and enters his dreams, tricking him into believing that everything will be all right. He wakes up the next morning feeling calm and peaceful. Later that day, he goes to a sweat lodge ceremony with his brother. During the ceremony, he begins to feel sick and collapses. The Elk Head Woman, taking the form of an emaciated old woman, emerges from the flames and carries Cass off to her mountain lair to join the others. Gabe gets a phone call telling him that his brother has died. Overwhelmed with grief and fear for his own life, Gabe drives into town, hoping to hide. Soon, however, the Elk Head Woman finds him, crushing his car with a fallen tree. When she reaches him, he offers her his life in exchange for his daughter's life, but she isn't interested in a trade. His time has come, and she takes his life. Part 3. Dinara. With her father gone, the Elk Head Woman now turns her sights to Dinara. She watches the young girl as she prepares for the upcoming Thanksgiving giveaway, knowing that she will be her last obstacle. Dinara, however, is completely unaware of the danger she's in. While the Elk Head Woman creeps closer to her prey, we learn more about Dinora's character. She's a strong, smart, and independent girl who loves her people and her culture. We see her interacting with her mother's family, who have tried to keep her from her father since she was young. They've told her stories about her father and her heritage, hoping to foster pride in her heart. Through these interactions, we see that Dinara has a deep connection to her identity and her spirituality. As the Elk Head Woman closes in on Dinara, the suspense builds until finally the two meet in a terrifying showdown. The Elk Head Woman demands that Dinara come with her, but the young girl refuses, standing firm and declaring that she doesn't have to listen to some crazy lady who has clearly lost her mind. She says, "I have done nothing wrong," and in that moment, something in the Elk Head Woman snaps. She realizes that Dinara didn't participate in the original sin of killing the elk. Instead, Dinara represents the future, a future full of potential and hope. For the first time, the Elk Head Woman sees a reason not to do what she's doing. And in a surprising twist, the Elk Head Woman vanishes, leaving Dinara unharmed. Dinara survived because she wasn't involved in the original sin. She's a new generation, and the Elk Head Woman couldn't bring herself to destroy that. With the Elk Head Woman gone, Dinara's ordeal comes to an end. She's shaken but unharmed, and she realizes that she's stronger than she thought. So now that we've met all the main characters and know how this story ended, let's talk about some of the major themes in this book. Cultural identity and disconnection. All 3 sections of the book deal with the characters' sense of identity and disconnection from their culture. Lewis has left the reservation and is trying to assimilate into white society. Cass is disconnected from his past and struggles to connect with his family. Dinara is the only one who seems comfortable in her skin, but she's still disconnected from her father and the rest of her family. Guilt and consequence. The men killed the elk 10 years ago and are now paying the price for their actions. They're being haunted by the elk and are being picked off one by one. Generational trauma. Dinara represents the next generation. She's the one who's innocent and not involved in the sins of the past. Nature and revenge. The elk is more than just a ghost. She is a symbol of nature's wrath. She as the embodiment of the natural world, and she as here to exact revenge on those who have wronged her. As we wrap up this episode, I want to say a huge thank you to all of our viewers and listeners. You guys make what we do possible, and we're so grateful for your support. If you'd like to help us continue to make great content, please consider supporting us. Until next time, stay spooky, my friends.